you're tuning into the Black House Fire Radio, and you're listening to the Yes Massive Wagwan. Andrew Robinson, your Jamaican brother there, reaching out to all the massive on the African continent, and you're tuning into the Pan-African Bliss Show with your host, none other
Don't put me on a test, don't you try me. Don't talk plug and onion drip, come me. I'm the last day, then I know where you can find me now. At guys on a bro, check it time me. Don't put me on a test, don't you try me. Don't talk plug and onion drip, come me. I'm the last day, then I know where you can find us now. At guys on a bro, check it time me.
Weed that I'm smoking belladonna. Y'all slipping on me in a coma. We outside, no Rona. Everybody getting beer, sipping on Corona. Seen a number, but I mean it, I need no more. Came a little different, looking at me like a foreigner. Shawty not shit if she's selling in a corner. Body shawty got connect, then a dial and a phone up. Bars, bitch, real bars, ass bitch. Everybody real, I expose you like a toner. I'm forever in your brain like a trauma. Hold it, one chance, it's a deep 9 times.
Don't you try me, don't talk plug and onion drip, come me. I'm the last day, then I know where you can find me now. At guys on a bro, check it time me. Don't put me on a test, don't you try me. Don't talk plug and onion drip, come me. I'm the last day, then I know where you can find us now. At guys on a bro, check it time me.
925 in it, Dubai shit. Malikani Safi, Dubai it. Toka bando, Coca Club, Nikona. To my next over team, this is so not. Meant for kids, don't ever ring my phone, Joe. Kasi biz, not to care a gram na. 12 bit. Free all the buzz, kuna. Gang na feed live, tuna Instagram, bado. Main in this, big. Step up, a streets, naga gang. So na joni make a pressure, mam, then I wanna take her. You get better, daily koi games, so na jua tuna test her.
Don't put me on a test.
Yes, good afternoon, family. Karibuni sana to another beautiful episode right here on the Black Hot Fire Network radio station. This is the media of the 21st century, 22 minutes past the top of the hour, and I hope your week has been fantastic. I hope you're ready for the weekend, and I hope you're also ready for the show of today, where we shall be discussing about the political tactics that are always used on Africa, not just Africa, but globally. But I think here we shall be focusing on Africa because our conversation today shall be going to DRC Congo, where we've seen blame games is one of the games that they keep on actually using. You know, if it's not you fixing the problem, or rather if because you've not been able to fix the problem, or because you've not been able to say no to the Western powers, you go back and start pointing fingers on previous regimes for not delivering what you're supposed to be doing, trying to make a change. But we see there's always also hope, and the Hegelian dialectic that is also used on African people without their own knowledge or consent. Karibuni sana, this is the Pan-African Bliss Show, and my name is Joby, and a quick shout out to everyone who's tuning in through YouTube, on Twitter, on TikTok, on Rumble, and on our show page on the radio, and for those who also get to listen to the show on Spreaker and Spotify. Good afternoon from my end one more time, and of course good morning. Let me know what's the time on your end. How was your week been? What are you looking forward to the weekend? And of course, also let me know what you shall be feeling, or how you shall be feeling regarding the conversation we shall be having today. Because majorly we shall be going to DRC Congo, where Felix Tshisekedi is accusing the former leader, the previous president, that is we're talking about Joseph Kabila, and actually not Joseph Kabila, because Joseph Kabila is a son to Kabila. We shall be going, I'll be showing a video here that actually goes all the way down to the history of this leadership. We've seen people like Mobutu Sese Seko, because after Mobutu Sese Seko, that is when Kabila took over, and instead of trying to change things got even worse. And now we see Tshisekedi is the one who's supposed to change things, but there's nothing that is done. Not trying to get the UN peacekeepers out, but just talking about it, you know. They're so scared to lose their position, so scared to lose their property, you know, when it comes to standing up for their own people. And it is so sad to see this, because Congolese right now, we're talking about, in DRC Congo to be specific, we're talking about 808 million people, who have been displaced so far. And it is such a sad situation. In Sudan, the same situation is happening. Literally, I was saying some time back, in every African country, I do believe there's problems going on. It's just that the fact that we don't see the mainstream media airing all these problems, but every African problem is actually going through something. It might not be as big as we can see in DRC, in Sudan, but every African country is going through something. But that is a conversation for the day. Stay here till the end of the show as we get knowledge and educated about this conversation of the day about the former president of DRC Congo. This is Gear 5, Brooklyn Boys.
Yes.
And of course, I also started with another jam by them featuring Silverstone Bars. Coming back with the quote of the day, share something amazing. Shatu Watu Watatu. Shout to you on TikTok where I can't pronounce the name. Shout to Ozzy B.
Joe. Yeah, fuck my ADC, pop my merch, pop my beer. Pop me go hang on my Google beer. It's on my fuck my ADC. Chinsia, my ADC. Pull up my people, chatty, chat. I'm from my mama, mia. Organizer to my doko by better beer. I said in you had no clear. I'm driven, there's no fear. Yeah, fuck my switch my gear. To not just on police here. Since my switch my gear, my pop not just on police here. Scare. You go here and there, scare. You go there and here. You go up and down, disappear. You go there and there, after this don't put on traffic, I got my fear. Anajifanya skia Fave flavor lazima utasikia. Shinsia na katisia niko na cheka kwa kingdom. Window prince, I am the kingdom. Disobey law, utakuzo kwa kingdom. Nime step na mabagi, unit now. The lady said let's see what happens. Adios amigo, can't catch me kwa machine bro. Adios amigo, adios amigo. Speed building kwa moto process. Adios amigo, bye. Adios amigo, adios amigo. Pop my merch, pop my beer. Pop me go high na magugu beer. It's on my fucking ADC. Shinsia na katisia. Pull up my big chatty. From my mama, mia. Organizer to my doko.
I said in you had no clear. It's on a Friday,
There's no fear.
Hope you're feeling amazing.
Not just on police.
Hope you're ready for the weekend. Yes, but of course, karibuni sana. If you didn't catch me on the culture show yesterday, manze, I put people on new music. What's up, Mr. Blackout Fire? Karibu sana. Shout out to Next Gen. Hope you're doing amazing. And to everyone who's also live or streaming live, joining through YouTube, both channels. We are on Blackout Fire Network live. I don't know what is happening with on the other channel. Keith, kindly if you can check that for me. The Blackout Fire Network 2 channel have been restricted going live, so I'm not sure if you guys spoke any or Maria spoke anything sensitive or any of our show if we did talk about anything sensitive. But karibuni sana to everyone who's also live with us on Twitter, on Rumble, on the show page, on Spreaker, and for those who are also listening through the radio station, good afternoon once again. And my quote of today before we get started is actually a very normal quote that I hear it from Keith majority of the time. What will you die for? But this one actually says, if you stand for nothing, you fall for anything. And I feel like that is the point that African people, we've been for so long. Like, we've never stood up for anything. And that's why African people have been able to fall for anything, because the fact that you do not even have the ability to question what you're being told to stand on, the fact that you do not have the ability to caution yourself or, talk about it is just, you are super, super, super lost. And that is what Africans for so long have been kept on that situation, not being able, because I feel like as much as we talk about critical thinking, we talk about the indoctrination, how deep it went. When you talk about religion, we were talking about this week how Africans do not have self-identity of who they are. They don't recognize themselves actually as Africans. And I was watching that video from TikTok where this guy was saying, when you're born, from the word go, your parents give you this Bible or biblical name. And that is who you know yourself as. If you're Sarah, if you're Eve, that's who you know yourself till the rest of your life. There's nowhere where you try question or, uncover who Eve is or who Sarah is. Try figure out deeper more about yourself. You keep on relying on the religion. You keep on relying on literally the religion, because especially if you talk about the biblical names, Because right now we have our parents who are so much focused on, my dad being one of them. My dad was one of those people who has named the rest of my siblings, all of them have biblical names. I'm glad I'm not one of them. All the rest of my siblings have biblical names, and each has a meaning. But if you try now figure out, let's say, if these kids grow up just knowing I'm Joseph without trying to figure out who Joseph is, apart from what the name you're given, that's where you literally end up just falling for anything, because you never stood up for anything. So karibuni sana, that is the conversation we shall be having right here as we talk about actually the political tactics, as we talk about indoctrination. We shall be everywhere and how they've been used on African people. And personally, I'm going to focus on hope and the Hegelian dialectic and the blame games, because we are focusing on DRC Congo. And this is a conversation coming from Felix Tshisekedi, and that is the current selected coon of that country. Remember that DRC Congo went on an election that was last year, October. Felix Tshisekedi took in again for the second term. And there's nothing since his actually first presidential term, there's nothing he did to change the lives of DRC people. There's nothing he's done to call out Rwanda, to call out Uganda, to call out the UN, the EU, all these political meetings, the AU, especially the AU, which of course is a fake organization. There's nowhere where we see him talking. And if he has, it was only on one of these summits. I think it was something to do with the Africans, how they're going to deal with their own problems. And that is when we had all the African coons, including Tinubu, Felix Tshisekedi, Kagame, President Ruto, all of them, they said something that actually African people were looking at them and giving them round of applause, because that is what we want to hear from African leaders every single day, not just one time, because that's what you're told to do, so that people can actually have the hope mentality of, is actually trying to do something for us, is trying actually to speak out loud on behalf of us, is actually understanding the problems we're going through. But it's totally the opposite of everything, because today we can see that actually Felix Tshisekedi, after all this failure of not being able to get rid of the UN peacekeepers, number one, the UN peacekeepers, the EU out of their country, the AU out of their country, because we've seen what Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali has done. That is just a perfect example of trail to follow. Getting rid of all the fake organizations that have been there in the name of helping you. That is how you start making change. But like I said, they're so scared of losing their glass of wines and the house with the library, because you're gonna go back to poverty, because that is basically what even Keith was breaking down sometime here. I had one of the shows with Dimori. If all this wealth is taken away from these coons by their masters, they're left with nothing. They just become ordinary mwananchi like me, and we start from the ground. But this is what Tshisekedi is saying. So they're saying that the Democratic Republic of Congo President Felix Tshisekedi has accused his predecessor and estranged ally, Joseph Kabila, of preparing an insurrection. And in an interview on private radio station on Tuesday, he said Kabila was backing the political military movement known as the Alliance Fleuve Congo, which I'll be sharing a video actually breaking down the whole history. And Tshisekedi did not provide any evidence to support his claim, which comes after the United States last month announced sanctions against the group. Washington accuses the alliance of seeking to overthrow Congo's government and fueling conflict in the east of the country. Note that the alliance main member, the M23 military groups, was already under the U.S. sanction, and that Tshisekedi's statement was the first time a Congolese official has accused Kabila of siding with the rebels. And Kabila, who ruled the DRC Congo from 2001 to 2018, has not responded to the accusation. And the eastern part of the country has struggled for decades with armed violence, as more than 120 groups fight for power, land, and valuable mineral resources, because that is the truth. So let's go back to history. And before we go back to history, the question to Tshisekedi, whether with evidence or not, what have you done to make a change on the current situation? Because this is where we go back. If personally, again, I'll sit down with these leaders, we just go step by step. I'll take you step by step, you know? Fine. It's Joseph Kibali who did the mistake. He was backing the military groups. He was working actually with Congo and Uganda to steal diamonds, gold out of the country. But you are now in power. You had manifestos that were set. You had manifestos that you actually told the people you're gonna fulfill. The question to you is, what have you done out of the manifestos you told the people? What change have you tried to bring to DRC Congo? Because I was reading something today early in the morning, which was talking about, can I really remember the headline? Something to do with self-doubt. Self-doubt. I think something to do with self-doubt. And it was talking about how instead of looking at the past all the time, the past and the future, the past and the future, try be in the moment. Try exist in the moment. Stop looking at who did, who didn't, who is gonna do in the future, who will not, you know, exist in the moment. And that is what Tshisekedi should actually do. You are the current president of this country. You should make a change. You should bring changes. You should talk to people, try see what kind of changes they want. But the problem we have with African leaders, even when they talk about having a dialogue, when people go to the streets and demonstrate, the dialogue is always between them and the opposition party, or them and the Western powers, those who control Africa. It's never between the people and you as a leader, literally. The dialogue is always between the other people who are not actually helping in this situation. So it is such a sad situation to see actually what DRC Congo is going through today. Yesterday in the morning, I shared on my show, I shared the videos of the situation there, because do you remember they were supposed to have a talk about ceasing fire, and before actually or after the talks, we saw a certain province in I don't know in which part of DRC Congo, but some villages were set on fire. And those people have been forced now to flee that place because you have no home, you have no place where there's literally cleaning water to drink. Remember, these people are also damaging the rivers, because when it comes to also exploitation of resources, they don't give a damn how they do it. We were talking on Tuesday right here with Kamlesh about the oil spillage in Nigeria, in the rivers, and not just Nigeria, but African countries are suffering because of the recklessness and tactics that these people use, even when it comes to even mining the resources themselves. It is just take and go. I don't care how the lands are left. I don't care the damage I've done. I already got what I wanted. It is sad. But I go back to my quote. Africans, what will you stand for? What are you going to stand for? So you stand for something, or you die for nothing. Let me share this very quickly.
After the overthrow of Mobutu Sese Seko, the longest-serving president of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, the new president, Laurent Desire Kabila, began a massive crackdown to restore law and order and reorganize the nation. He renamed the country from Zaire to the Democratic Republic of the Congo and rebranded the National Army as the Forces Armée Congolais, the FAC. After the overthrow of Mobutu Sese Seko, the longest-serving president of the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
And remember, I did share a documentary right here on one of the shows, the Africa Today show, about also the ruling of Mobutu Sese Seko, how ruthless he really was, you know, where they picked him from. This was a non-Negro from a bush somewhere, and sorry for my words, but it's just the facts. They picked the people who not even critically think, who do not, they know nothing. But yeah, after him, this is what happened.
The new president, Laurent Desire Kabila.
So it starts with Laurent Desire Kabila, and right now, the article I was reading, whom the current DRC Congo president is accusing is the son. Okay, Felix Tshisekedi right now is accusing the son of Laurent Desire Kabila, that is Joseph Kabila. So if actually is to point any or talk about blame games, it should start with the father, because this is nepotism that actually took place right here. After his assassination, because that is what literally happened, Laurent Desire Kabila, the son took over. Why can't you go back all the way to history, to Mobutu, and try educate your people what really happened, why this happened? Because that is basically, I'm using Ibrahim Traoré as an example because he's doing it. And that is what Nigerians, Kenyans, Venezuelans, Bangladesh people, everyone globally is asking for. Just do as we say. Simple.
Began a massive crackdown to restore law and order and reorganize the nation. He renamed the country from Zaire to the Democratic Republic of the Congo and rebranded the National Army as the Forces Armée Congolais, the FAC. Initially, his administration showed promise as inflation dropped to 5% in early 1998, but despite this early optimism, Kabila's popularity quickly declined. Wanting to centralize all power around himself, he became increasingly authoritarian, abolishing the existing constitution, parliament, electoral committee, and multi-party system.
Just like they all do, you know, once they get into power, reshuffle everything. Like, you know, this one is not going to work in my favor. Let's get rid of this one. This one is going to not work in my favor. Let's get rid of this one. And that's what they do.
Leaving only his party, the AFDL, in power. Soon, his regime encountered significant challenges, including political infighting, immense external debt, and most predominantly, the reluctance of his foreign backers to withdraw to their respective countries. You see, neighboring countries like Rwanda and Uganda had been crucial in Kabila's rise to power, and their representatives occupied influential positions in the Congolese army. In fact, Kabila's chief of staff was the prominent Rwandan officer by the name of James Kabarebe. The Rwandans hoped that their presence in the Congolese army would help dismantle the remaining perpetrators of the Rwandan genocide who were still hiding in the Congo. However, the Congolese leader grew increasingly suspicious of these foreign elements and began to surround himself with fellow Katangas in the army. This laid the foundation for division between him and his backers, who had hoped to control the Congo by installing a pawn of their own, but instead, Kabila turned out to be an unguided
That is Kagame and Museveni there.
On the 14th of July 1998,
because understanding also back with the history of Mobutu Sese Seko, still Kagame and Museveni wanted to overthrow Mobutu Sese Seko, but through the help of Angola, if I'm not wrong, and other African countries, they were like, nah, we can't allow these two to rule DRC.
Amid growing protests against foreign interference, Kabila announced the dismissal of
Karibu sana kid.
Asante sana there, Joby.
Oh no, your voice is still messed up.
Yep. What's up?
Sorry about that. You need to drink some lemon and ginger and honey.
Yeah, as soon as I get a chance to. Yeah, I see you. Well, put together good. Because Uganda and Rwanda, backed by the Europeans, were trying to put their fucking tribal people throughout the Congo and take it over that way. And Kabila did say, nah, we're not doing that shit. Nah, we're not about to put your Tutsi motherfuckers all throughout Congo. So you people think you can take it over, have Rwanda and all of Congo, Uganda where you now we're not gonna do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's when he ran to Angola and ran to Zimbabwe. He ran to Robert Mugabe down in Zimbabwe and over in Angola said, hey, these Tutsi motherfuckers are trying to overthrow us as Bantu people. And Angola said, what? Oh no, oh no. We're not gonna allow that. Because Angola and Congo are the same people. So we're not gonna allow that.
Yeah, it's gonna be explained on this video how they even went to war and everything. We continue.
Of James Kabarebe, replacing him with a native Congolese by the name of Celestin Kifwa. Although this move strained the already troubled relationship with Rwanda, Kabila attempted to soften the blow by making Kabarebe the military advisor to Kifwa. But 2 weeks later, he abandoned this decision altogether and ordered all Rwanda and Uganda military forces to leave the country.
Right.
Within 24 hours, all foreign military personnel were unceremoniously flown out of the Congo. However, the people most alarmed by this order were the Banyamulenge Tutsis of Eastern Congo, who were closely aligned with the Rwandans.
The Tutsis. That's right, the Tutsis were not supposed to be in the Congo. They would have been there with Kagame and fucking Uganda. Tutsis are a small minority that now have control of Uganda and Rwanda because of the West. Because what the West had allowed. But they're
tensions
not.
Between them and other ethnic groups in the Congo had sparked the First Congo War. Renewed tensions between them and Kabila's army would ignite one of the bloodiest and deadliest wars in Africa's history. On the 2nd of August 1998, rebellion broke out in Eastern Congo as the largely Banyamulenge 10th and 12th Brigades of the Congolese army mutinied against their officers. The next day, troops from the Rwandan, Uganda, and Burundian armies crossed the border to support them. Together, they formed the Rally for Congolese Democracy, the RCD, and quickly dominated the provinces of North and South Kivu, seizing control of the key cities of Goma, Uvira, and Bukavu. Led by a Congolese intellectual by the name of Ernest Wamba Diawamba, the RCD often clashed with local militias like the Mai Mai and the Interahamwe, who now controlled the interiors and were supported by Kabila. On the 4th of August 1998, Rwanda and Uganda soldiers, under the command of James Kabarebe, decided to take the war to Kabila's doorstep. They hijacked 3 airliners in the east and flew an elite force to the military base at Kitona, near the mouth of the Congo River. There, they threatened to take the Congolese capital of Kinshasa from the west. Rapidly reinforced by further flights, they integrated with troops from Mobutu's former army, the FAZ, and grew to about 11,000 men. Soon, towns around Kitona began to fall in rapid succession as the government forces, comprising only 6,000 men, were completely overwhelmed by the rebels. By August 13th, less than 2 weeks after the revolt began, the rebels had seized control of the crucial port city of Matadi and the Inga hydroelectric power station, cutting off power to Kinshasa. Kabila seemed to be on the brink of defeat as his troops stood no chance against Kabarebe's men. But just in the nick of time, he received foreign assistance. Between the 19th and the 22nd of August, soldiers from the Zimbabwean and Angolan armies entered the Congo and began the liberation of Kitona. Things quickly escalated into a full-blown continental war as troops from Namibia, Sudan, Chad, and the Central African Republic joined the fighting, aligning with Kabila. They were also supported by Libya, who provided a few planes. Ultimately,
You should have
Kabila had
known.
a 7
You
nation
should have
army
known
at his
that
disposal.
Angola was not going to allow you motherfuckers to take over the Congo. That's the historic goddamn you. Shout out to Zimbabwe. They were going to let your motherfucking broke ass Museveni, dumbass Kagame take over the fucking Congo. You morons should have known history. The Angola is Congo. No matter what the white man border said, they wasn't gonna allow you motherfuckers to take over the Congo. That wasn't gonna allow it happen. They wasn't gonna allow that. Have some Tutsi motherfuckers talking about they the head of the Congo. No. Nope. So you should have known that when your white backers that you gonna come in and Angola was gonna sit there and say, yeah, we're gonna let you take over the Congo. But motherfucker, Angola was the Congo before they split it up and made it to Angola. Angola is the Congo. They're not gonna sit there and let you take it over. Go ahead, Shelby.
All right.
Facing off against the armies of 3 eastern countries operating behind the ROCD. In no time, Western Congo was back in Kabila's hands as an Angolan armored column crossed the frontier from Kabila, attacking the rebels from the rear and recapturing Kitona. As a result, many rebel soldiers were killed, but the Rwandan and Ugandan officers managed to fly back to the east.
They got away. And so I love Angola. That's my people. Angola told Kagame and Museveni, do it again. We'll kill both of you niggas. Do it again. We're gonna kill. Ever do a raid like this on all of Congo? We're gonna kill both of you. It ain't nobody white gonna stop us. We're gonna kill both you niggas. Go ahead.
Taking the war to the eastern region, the pro-Kabila army adopted a unique strategy. The Angolan troops would advance eastward, slipping into a gap between 2 Zimbabwean commands. One from Kinshasa and the
they
other
destroyed Angola in 24 years. The white man's always going to come and black people. So a white man comes into Angola and starts dismantling their army over the next 20-something years. And now Angola's weak militarily, but it was strong. And now they can't stop those raids in the east happen now with Uganda and Kagame. Kagame and them are not strong enough to really take over all of Congo, but they can steal the resources out of the eastern part of the Congo. But at that time, there was no army in Africa that could stand against Angola because Angola broke the back of white South Africa. Anyway, go ahead, Joe.
By road from Zambia to Katanga. Meanwhile, the ROCD continued their advance in the east, spreading out from Goma in September and capturing the cities of Moba, Manono, Kisangani, and Watsa. In October, they took the city of Kindu, the capital of the Maniema province, opening the way into Kasai. November saw the emergence of a new rebel movement supported exclusively by Uganda in northwestern Congo. They were called the Movement for the Liberation of the Congo, the MLC. It was led by a man by the name of John.
Talking about the liberation for Congo when these motherfuckers not even Congolese. Come from Uganda. It was about the liberation of something when these dictators sponsored by Western forces want to take over parts of Africa. And shit. The liberation of Congo. How you liberating the Congo and you from Uganda, motherfucker? And you're probably not Uganda, just like the 70 ass.
But the son of the wealthiest businessman of the Mobutu era. Assembling veterans from Mobutu's former private army, the DSP, they became a predominant force in the northwestern region.
Some more Mobutu, some more corrupt ass. These niggas, Africa's got so many corrupt motherfuckers.
Yep.
They should have had bullets in their fucking head because they've all been miseducated. They all worthless morons, and that's what's hurt Africa the last 500 years. idiot after idiot after idiot, easily manipulated because they mostly got low IQs. West white people manipulate them. Don't you want to be rich too, nigga? Don't you want to have money? We give you money, go fight for us, nigga. Yeah, master, yeah. And you get the most moronic, backward. Go ahead, Joby.
Kabila sent about 2,000 Chadian troops to the Equator province to halt the MLC's advance. In January 1999, the rebels renewed their offensive along 3 fronts: southwards towards Katanga, westward towards Bunjimai, and northwards towards Bandaka. Consequently, the Zimbabwean forces deployed reinforcements to Bunjimai and prevented the rebels from capturing the city. Meanwhile,
So understand,
MLC
this is because the Congo is so rich.
Successfully.
It's because the Congo is so rich that they always want to keep it destabilized for the white masters. That's why all these wars are always going on in the Congo. It can never have peace, and you can never develop without peace. And so Congo's never been allowed to develop as a country because of the greediness of the European and these moronic ass slave-minded Negroes. So that's why Congo's constantly always at war because of its wealth, and so it never can develop. So go ahead, Joey. It's a good video.
Defeating the Chadian army and capturing most of the Equator province except for its capital, Mbandaka. By the end of 1999, the map of the Congo was now clearly divided. Kabila with his allies controlled the west and the south, while Bemba's MLC, backed by Uganda, dominated the north. In the east, Wamba Diawamba's RCD, supported by Rwanda and Uganda, fought against the Interahamwe and the Mai Mai militias, backed by Kabila. Diplomatic efforts to end the conflict had been ongoing since the beginning, but none had succeeded. However, in July 1999, a glimmer of hope emerged in Lusaka, Zambia, where the 6 warring countries signed a ceasefire agreement. They agreed to set up a joint military commission to disarm and document all the armed groups and militias in the Congo. However, a few concrete steps were taken to disarm these militias, and in the following months,
and then you ask yourself, where's Kagame and where's Uganda, poor ass country, and Rwanda, poor ass country, getting all these weapons from?
Exactly.
Where are these poor niggas and the poor ass countries getting all these weapons? Uganda's still poor. Rwanda's still poor. So how they get all these weapons to fight all these wars?
Funded.
Yeah.
That's where it's all coming from. Okay, minute. All right.
Repeatedly breaking the ceasefire and resumed the war. During the second phase of the war, tensions within the leadership of the RCD reached a boiling point when its leader, Ernest Wamba Diawamba, was ousted in favor of a pro-Rwandan figure by the name of Emile Ilunga. As a result, Wamba decided to move his base from Goma to the Ugandan-controlled Kisangani, forming a breakaway faction known as the RCD Liberation Movement. This split left a pro-Rwandan faction of the RCD in Goma. In the following months, the alliance between Rwanda and Uganda would eat the rocks. They no longer fought together to seize Kinshasa and overthrow Kabila, but against each other to seize control of the mineral wealth in Kisangani. You see, Kisangani was the main regional trading center for diamonds, and even though it was controlled by Uganda, Rwanda was also interested in the proceeds and decided to dislodge its northern neighbor. On at least 3 occasions, gun battles erupted in the street of Kisangani between the two factions of the RCD, resulting in thousands of deaths. To this day, the inhabitants of Kisangani remember the one-day war of August 1999, the 3-day war of May 2000, and the 6-day war of June 2000. By the end of the year 2000, the fighting had settled down into a trench warfare on critical fronts, with the rebels unable to make any further progress, but capable of stopping any counter-offensive from the government troops.
We don't want Kabila in our country.
Why?
Because he don't give us money. Many people are suffering with hunger, and many people make Kabila.
On the 16th of January 2001, Kabila was having a meeting with one of his advisors at the Marble Palace in Kinshasa when one of his bodyguards, an 18-year-old by the name of Rashidi Mizeli, walked up to him to whisper something in his ear. Suddenly, Mizeli drew out an automatic pistol and shot Kabila 3 times with one of the bullets fatally piercing the back of the president's colossal head. A few minutes later, Mizeli was shot and killed by one of Kabila's closest advisors, the person of Colonel Eddie Kapend. Kabila was immediately flown to a clinic in Kinshasa and then transported to Zimbabwe for intensive care. But unfortunately, he was declared dead at about 10 a.m. on January the 18th, 2001. His remains were returned for a state funeral the following week. The circumstances surrounding Kabila's assassination remains a mystery and have been the subject of considerable debate. The consensus, however, is that he was killed by one of his Kadogos, a Swahili word for child soldier, who was part of a group that conspired to eliminate him. You see, the Kadogos had been instrumental in Kabila's rise to power during the First Congo War. But now that he was in power, they felt increasingly marginalized. Their discontent grew even further after the mysterious murder of their beloved leader and one of the founding fathers of the AFDL, the person of Osem Musasu Nindaga. However, the final nail in the coffin for Kabila was when he ordered the execution of 47 Kadogos accused of plotting against him. Ironically, this took place exactly the day before he was assassinated. Kabila's death marked a turning point in the war. By a unanimous vote, his son, Joseph Kabila, was quickly appointed to replace him.
Joseph Kabila is now the president. Is now who Tshisekedi is accusing of working and funding the military, which was the Alliance Fleuve Congo. Yeah.
Of course, because they all want money, Joby. They can't build shit. They're worthless. Can't do shit. But they want the resources of the country to get a white man, so white man gives them some paper money, and they can live better than the other Africans. That's what this is always about. These niggas ain't never built no country, never done shit, never create shit, but despair, poverty. It's about me having money and being on top.
Mm-hmm. And doesn't change. It's
Nope.
sad and crazy to see Kagame even accusing him. You know, that's how I was saying, you've been the current leader. What have you done to change the situation?
But they don't know the history that you just did right there, Joby. I'm surprised you found that video. This is one of the best goddamn documentaries I've ever seen. They never showed this damn good. Putting accusing Museveni and Kagame, because they always say, "Oh, we have nothing to do with this. We know nothing, Joby. We know nothing. We have nothing to do with it."
It's a,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
includes the channels with the low numbers. If you see some
yes,
interesting story about Africa and you see low numbers, and maybe the story was done like a few years
that's where
ago,
you better. That's
just
where
tap
you better
into it
go.
and pay attention.
That's
Pay
right.
attention to them, because they're always shadow banned as well.
Yeah, that's true.
At just 29 years of age, he became one of the youngest presidents in the world. Less than a month after his father's death, he met
His
with Paul
father's death.
Kagame.
Nobody voted for his ass. It's the same give it to my son shit like these people control the countries. People didn't vote. People didn't vote for his ass.
Mm-hmm. He decided, since my dad is dead,
Yeah.
we can
Yeah,
decide.
I'm gonna be the president. Yeah, since my dad's dead, I'm the president now. What
It's
kind of
great.
shit is this?
Rwandan
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
He became the youngest president by then, and immediately he met with the Rwanda president Kagame in New York. Of course, the meetings outside the country or the continent.
You know why they met in New York. That's Wall Street. And that's their white masters. You niggas, this is what we want done.
So this what happened after.
Counterpart and arch enemy in New York, and spoke of peace, national unity, and the role of the international community.
Indeed.
As a result, the Democratic Republic of the Congo agreed to a UN pull-out plan with Rwanda and Uganda and began withdrawing their troops from the front lines. However, this did not mark the end of the war, as it now entered a more brutal and exploitative phase. In 2002, Rwanda's position in the war began to deteriorate. Many members of the RCD Goma either ceased fighting or decided to join the government of the young Joseph Kabila. Western Congo was becoming increasingly secure and inflation was brought under control. In the east, however, Rwanda and Uganda had resolved within themselves to capitalize and exploit the vast mineral resources present in the Congo. Between 1999 and 2000,
Rwanda and Uganda again. That's why Museveni guys have been left in power. Ain't about the homosexual shit. He gives those resources to the white man. That's why this retarded ass nigga has been allowed to be in power for 40 years and Kagame for 30. You understand that?
Average of $93 million annually from gold exports. At the same time, Rwanda was exporting about $29 million worth of the same mineral each year. This is a great deal, especially when one realizes that neither country has significant domestic gold deposits.
Exactly. They still, yes. Imagine that. I'm just going to steal your shit.
Before the war, Uganda exported less than $200,000 worth of diamonds.
Immediately.
But by the end, this figure had increased by 14-fold to $2.8 million. Similarly, Rwanda, a country without diamonds, exported as much as $40 million in such stones each year. Furthermore, from 1998 to 2004, Rwanda's tin exports more than tripled.
And you wonder why Kagame is worth $500 million. Kagame never built shit, never invented shit, never manufactured shit.
In Eastern Congo. Then there was coltan. Apart from one Australian quarry, Eastern Congo was the only place on earth where coltan was mined. The Rwandans controlled these mines and exported a mind-boggling $240 million worth of coltan annually between 1999 and 2000, with most of that being pure profit. Unsurprisingly, Rwanda and Uganda were not the only ones profiting from this pillage. Numerous multinational mining companies, elusive arms dealers, corrupt businessmen from Switzerland, Russia, Kazakhstan, Belgium, the Netherlands, Germany, and the United States made a killing by capitalizing on the
The
Congo's
usual,
stolen raw materials, operating
the
in a
usual suspects, the usual white suspects. Exactly. Bringing the Europeans. Exactly. Those are the ones with the real money and the power. But go ahead, Joey.
highly unregulated marketplace. Additionally, poaching became a major business in the Congo. Nearly half of the 130 mountain gorillas, already a rare species, disappeared during the war. Furthermore, the war saw a commercialization of violence, widespread human rights violations, and ethnic hatred disguised as commercial rivalry. Approximately 60,000 Umbuti pygmies were massacred by Mbemba's MLC during the war. Similarly, in the Ituri district, the two major population groups there, the Emas and the Lendus, fought fiercely for the control over the region's gold pits. The war also led to the rise of numerous local military groups, primarily composed of young boys. In a country where the educational system had collapsed and life expectancy was low, the war provided a sense of purpose and identity for these boys. Over the following months, negotiations and peace talks would continue to be held, and on the 30th of July 2002, Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of the Congo signed a peace deal in the South African capital of Pretoria. The war officially came to an end when the Congolese government and all the major warring parties signed an all-inclusive agreement which established a transitional government to be implemented within 2 years. In terms of casualties, the Second Congo War is regarded as the deadliest conflict since the Second World War, claiming the lives of over 5 million people, with most of the deaths resulting from malnutrition and disease. Despite its devastating impact, the war has largely evaded international media attention due to its perceived complexity and obscurity.
Yeah, so that is the story over there, and such a nice documentary from that young man. Shout out to him. And
Bro, that was the best. That's
what we
the best document. That's the best document I ever seen on it. Wow. I was like, wow, he put it
yeah,
all together. Usually you never hear nothing about it. People like,
that's
you crazy. There's no proof Rwanda and Uganda was behind that. I said, it is. What y'all talking about? I don't care what
mm-hmm.
Kagame sit there tell you. I know nothing, have nothing to do with it. He's a bald-faced, no good, dirty liar.
Of course he is. So what we've understood from that video is we had strong military we had strong military groups literally back then in Africa, like in Angola, Zimbabwe, Congo itself also could create its own if it's not just for the distraction here and there, and so could actually all the African countries. We can see Burkina Faso doing it so far right now, but they're calling out young Africans from all over Africa, come and join our military group
Yeah,
if you're interested. Come and let us
yeah.
be stand up for our continent, and that is what we need today for us to be actually be able. Because for so long I've been asking, how can we help Congo? But the answer is very clear: until we have our own military, strong military, not backed by anyone, funded by anyone,
hmm
us understanding what the agenda is all about, like I was saying yesterday, having a common agenda, then we're good
Yeah.
to go. We're gonna move fearlessly, because if Angola could do it, if Zimbabwe could actually help Congo, back then from Rwanda and Uganda, what is not happening today is because we have,
During that
we
during that
have
time, during that time, they started weakening Zimbabwe and white men start weakening Zimbabwe and Angola. Because remember, they put sanctions against Zimbabwe after that, and they went in and started destroying Angola from within, destroying the politics from within it, and destabilizing the country. Because white people don't ever stop, Joby. You're dealing with savages, and Africans have not understood that still. So Angola went back, okay, everything's okay. No, they start going in and destabilizing them from within.
It is crazy. So to Skedi, what I'd say is that he has failed as a leader. No blame games here. That is the card I've always been pulling all over the African continent with this puppet. Blame games of the previous regimes for what they did, what they didn't. You are there. What are you doing? That is the question. What have you tried to do? Because you have actually the backup of your people. Your people are looking at you for you to actually do something, not say something, but do something. Because I was saying earlier, the only time we had them talking sense is in one of the summits that was held last year regarding something to do with security and all that in Africa. And Skedi, Tinibu, and a bunch of these puppets, including Ruto, spoke some sense. But it's always one time when they're given that microphone to speak some sense, because again, it's the hope they need to sell to the people that they are installed there to work for the people, but it's never a democratic rule that is happening. It's never democratic words that I really mean this because I care about the people. I really mean this because I'm not all about the Hegelian dialectic. I mean actions, and results, all that's taking place. So he has failed as a leader. That is one thing we should know. And all the African people globally, Felix Tshisekedi has failed. The blame game is over. To all the African puppets, we know who you are. We know the reason why you're there. You should be doing something. If not, we should see you actually eating a lot of bubble gums because you tried to do something for the people. That is what people like Patrice Lumumba did, and they ate a lot of bubble gums. People like, the Zimbabwe president by then, Robert Mugabe, they tried to stand up for the people, trying to change the education, trying to actually rule according to what the people's needs is all about and according to the democracy itself. But sad enough, we have no democracy globally. But as we come to the end of today's conversation,
They don't believe in democracy. They believe in that's the scam they use to rob, steal, and kill. Europeans have always done one thing the other white man told you: rob, steal. For their the whole propaganda they given when they took control of Africa, they told a bunch of lies. Oh, we had civilization, and we were this and we were that, and that's a lie. The whole thing has been based on the theft of Africa. That's where their wealth comes from. And without Africa, they're poor. Because there are no diamonds, there are no gold, there's no cobalt, no coltan. There's nothing in Europe. They have no resources. So they've always been poor.
Completely.
And so they come back and tell you, when we came here, we civilized you. Then why'd you leave Europe if it was so great that you had to come and civilize us in Africa? Why'd you leave that great place to come be with savages? Because that's a lie.
Exactly. But anyway, as we come to the end of
Africans didn't have wars and fighting and killing one another. Even though they started going to more tribal, but they still have these wars because Africa family. Also Africans, get over your tribalism. I'm saying, before we leave, let me say this. Think of Africa as a house, okay? Think of Africa as one big house. And Kenya is a room in the house. Africa's a room in that house. All these places are different rooms in the same house. Okay? You're the same people underneath the same roof in different rooms of the house. So if you understood that, you give it all your goofy tribal shit. You're in the same house. Okay? You're just in different rooms.
But Sister Jewel says reasons why Black Homo sapien man should stay out of the Neanderthals, mankind tribal was YouTube British Army issue racism, apology to Black poster girl soldier. I'm not getting you correctly. I'm not getting you correctly, Sister Jewel. Kindly share that on WhatsApp if you can. But thank you so much for tuning in. But family, this is where we wrap it up with today's conversation. An episode of the Pan-African Militia. Remember, we do this every Monday to Friday from 12:30 to 1:30. Sometimes we might be a little bit late, but better late than never, as we get to bring you news and updates about what is happening in Africa historically, cultural-wise, traditional-wise, and the day-to-day effects and what is happening to us also politically. But much love, asanteni sana for tuning in. And I'll see you guys later, of course, on the Rhythm Scoop Show and on the Africa Today Show. Have yourselves a beautiful day at work, at home, wherever you're listening to this. If you shall be watching this on a replay, kindly ensure you leave your comments behind under the comment section. Subscribe kindly if you're also new, and ensure you also download our app on the Google Play Store. In case you've been listening to us on the YouTube channels, ensure you have our app, which is
I tried to share this live with you guys. His brother Sargent was breaking down scientifically in the book, showing you that he was getting cryptic because white people keep shutting me down. He was showing you their melanin and our melanin scientifically, showing you the sulfur in their melanin.
Well, I think we missed that, but much love, family. See you guys later.